Good afternoon. You are watching TableTakes on Gen Con TV, broadcasting live on Gen Con 1 in geosynchronous orbit above Leshai, Washington. Welcome to my host, my co-host, my lovely, lovely co-host. How's everybody doing? Jeffrey, start with you. How are you today?
Oh, the news has been fast and furious all week. It's been amazing. Like, there's just been so much coming out. We got stuff about Asmodee, we got stuff about Magic. It's crazy. Like, it's just been furious here.
Wow.
So,
Wow. So you had a busy week.
oh yeah, I'm still working. I never stop working.
Yeah, you never do. I know.
No,
That's
never
that's
ever.
that's absolutely fantastic. Javion, how are you doing this week? What do
I'm
you
great. I've been having a good old time. When you buy a bunch of Kickstarters and then like 2 years later they all start to trickle in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well that's still going for me. I still have I think like 15 or 16 more of them I'm still waiting on. But for now, I'm very excited that I
Wait,
got.
whoa. They're just like a mic drop. 15? You have 15 Kickstarters that are out there that you're waiting for the awards.
Oh yeah. I think I'm over 40 at this point, backed in total, and I've gotten almost everything. I don't think there's anything else that I have been waiting for a long time. So I'm very happy with the turnout so far. Everything's showing up on the
Wow.
doorstep eventually.
Wow.
But here, I'm gonna turn my blur off for just a second. I don't want to forget again. I want to show you some of the ones
Yeah,
that
yeah,
just came in
yeah.
the mail.
Sweet, sweet. Let's see the loot.
So
Show,
everybody
show,
knows
tell.
Javion loves two things: uh, new board games and dice. Well, here's a designer you may have heard me talk about a lot because they do a lot of that. John
Oh, I
D.
love this
Clare,
game.
and this one's called Rolling Heights.
Rolling
Rolling
height.
Heights is a massive game with tons and tons of cubes. You end up rolling meeples instead of dice, and you're building these skyscrapers or residential areas and parks all on this giant board, and you're just stacking up cubes, trying to earn points. There's so many different things that you can build and so many combinations, and you're rolling so many meeples. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, how do you make a meeple rolling game work? How does that feel good when you don't get all of them standing up straight? Well, you get a lot of rerolls. That's how you make it work. You get a lot of rerolls, and it's super. It's like pushing your luck, and it's just like Cubitos. It's super fun.
Wow.
Another John D. Clare game. But I also got this one, which is a lot more intimidating. It's called Station Fall. I'm gonna go on this
Wow.
side. So Station Fall is a
Great
game
cover.
where you are either a sentient talking chimp in space, or you are a rules lawyering robot, or you're any one of the other crazy characters that you get to be on here. And
Wow.
you're constantly being told who you're allies with, who you're in competition with. There's all these secret identities. And also, the space station that you're on is crashing down to Earth. And you got to figure out who can escape and who won't be able to and try to plan for it. There's a lot of intrigue, a lot of deduction, and it plays up to 9 players, even though the rule book is massive. So I'm excited to see how that works. It's a lot of rules, and I'm very excited to keep learning and see if I can bring it to a game night eventually.
Well, I know you want to cover all 15, but I'm going to cut you off there, Jamie. So, otherwise, this becomes an article, and I got to move it to later in the show. All right, Noir, how are you, my friend? You look like you're in total darkness there. Did the lights go
Am
out?
oh, am I? I thought I was pretty bright. Here we go. Ah, let there be
Ah,
light.
there you go. There you go. Thank you,
Uh,
Noir.
no problem. This week, not too much has been going on. I just joined a couple of my friends in playing the Lord of the Ring, the One Ring system. It's really good. We get all dressed up in costume and we're going around Middle Earth. It's a great time. Other than that, the only thing that's happened this week is I mean, obviously I'm going to Gen Con, duh,
Woohoo.
but now I can tell you one of the things that I'm doing at Gen Con, which is I will be GMing at a VIP table for Kobo Press's new system, Black Flag. So if you
Ooh,
want to check that out,
Nice.
I do.
first looks are gonna be at Gen Con. And so I'll be able to run you through that new system. And after it's over, I'll be talking all about it.
Wow, that sounds great. All right. Well, and I have been doing just what I do. Actoroki has been, it devours my life. Lots of Actoroki. So I'm doing. I'll be directing a bunch of actors next week, and can't wait. But let's get to our headlines. Speaking of Actoroki adjacent, Tinell Lovett, our illustrator, you've got some news about her, Noir.
I do. So, uh, uh, Studio Night is going to be back for a very special time this weekend. That's right. This Saturday, for our second studio night, we're joined by the spellbinding Helen Roundhill as a powerful sea witch. Drop in from 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to watch the magic happen before your eyes as Tanel Lovick draws live from the Chaldea studio only on Gen Con TV. And you really do need to check this out. It's incredible how amazing the illustrations are and how fast it's done. I said it last week, I'll say it this week, and I'll continue to say it. Tanel's talent upsets me because I wish I was that talented.
Well, and she's got a lovely voice. She chats along with chat. She talks about what she's doing, and she's an amazing illustrator and an amazing graphic designer. You don't often see those two skills in the same person. So yeah.
Yeah, the fact that she can multitask while drawing these beautiful pictures that quick, it's frankly unfair.
I'm
I
lucky
don't-
enough to be friends with her on Facebook, and I have seen some of the things that she posts about, and she's just so funny and so clever. But I love her dog. I love all the stuff that she talked about. But it's funny getting to see that stuff. It's like very cute. But then I see the monsters that she ends up drawing for Actoroki and all the massive creatures that we end up fighting and stuff like that. So I know that she's I know that she's excited for her show too.
Yeah. Okay, well, all right, let's move on to our next headline. Jeffrey Dom Sanchez. You're gonna tell us a little bit about Magic the Gathering and another
of
great
course
fantasy
I will.
property.
Like this is so they put out the product details for the Lord of the Rings set for Magic the Gathering. And it looks awesome. I mean, they gave you a release date for it. It's coming out on June 23rd. And the product line's got some great stuff in it. I mean, one thing I know a lot of the retailers are super excited about is the return of the starter kit, because like one of Magic's classic problems has been, how do I get more players interested in a game that's been around for 30 years now, right? It's not a new game. How do we add players? And they created this starter set or starter kit that has 2 decks, Lord of the Rings themed, and it gets you right in there playing. And the other major thing about this set is that they're bringing back serialized cards, except this time it looks like the serialized cards are going to be rings. So like there are all the different rings, Lord of the Rings you can possibly think of. There's obviously the One Ring, and then there's the ones given to the Dwarven Lords and all that sort of thing. So overall, I think this is this is the set of the year for Magic the Gathering. I know it's been a long time coming for them getting the Lord of the Rings license, and it'll be huge. So yeah, it's coming out soon.
3 rings for the Dwarven Kings.
Yeah, right on, man.
Of stone.
I love
Yeah.
seeing all the different crossovers that Magic the Gathering has been announcing and releasing. I don't even know, has the Warhammer one come out? Was that last year?
Oh my God, did the Warhammer one come out?
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. We all were looking at Warhammer 40K and we're like, does this really translate to a Magic set? And apparently it translates to a Magic set in its 3rd printing now. So then that was one of the things that the president of Wizards of the Coast and Digital Gaming, Cynthia Williams, said on her fireside chat. One point of note is that those the Warhammer 40K Commander decks are in their 3rd print. That's a lot for a Magic set, right? Usually it only gets to about a 2nd and then maybe cuts off. And now 3rd print on Commander decks, that's huge. I mean, That's
I
all.
mean, who would have thought that a game with like lots of big creatures and continuous warfare would translate to Magic the Gathering? I mean, yeah.
Well, it's future verse Warhammer, right? So that was the question, right? Is it if it was like Warhammer Age of Sigmar, we'd all be like, ah, duh, it's a fantasy game. And then, but Space Marines with guns, like
Guns,
yeah,
lightning bolt wands,
right. I guess
it's the
what's
same thing.
yeah. Okay. Oh man.
Well, man's fantasy is just, science fiction that hasn't been explained to.
At Peter Atkinson, just what Warhammer fans have at him, like
Yeah.
So
Come at me, with me
yeah,
the
come at
first,
him,
with me
lightning
the
bolt.
first wave.
Yeah, what's a Magna Rail? It's just a staff of fireball bolts or something, like so.
Well, is there? I think Javion, you have some more Magic the Gathering news. What have you got for us?
I sure do. A set that people have been looking forward to for a very long time. We are finally getting a first look at another ICV2 article here. March of the Machine is this set that we are looking forward to coming in next month. We're getting a bunch of first looks at it. So for those of you that maybe don't know, March of the Machine is going to focus on the battle between the Gatewatch and Alesh Norn's Phyrexian army over the fate of the multiverse. Everybody's got a multiverse now, so why not Magic the Gathering, right? So much like the Borg Queen from Star Trek, Norn will stop at nothing to complete, which is spelled in a way I've never seen it spelled before, but it means to assimilate. There's an A in there that you probably weren't expecting, and it's pronounced the exact same, so you're probably just as confused as I was. But yes, the Norn are trying to assimilate everyone and everything in the multiverse, and there's planewalkers and legends on various planes trying to stop them. So there's apparently a lot of bizarre team ups between the different legends all on the same planes. So you might see some legendary creature cards like Yargle and Multani, Galta and Maven, and even Talia and the Gitrog monster. Ooh. There are also some assimilated creatures and a completed god card in the form of Heliod, the Radiant Dawn. There's also going to be some more reprints from the added multiverse legends that are coming to this set. Non-standard legal reprints that are just legendary creature equivalents of Strixhaven's mystical archive. And there's also going to be a secret layer drop coming for the set that's going to contain a lot of reprints like Questing Beast, Olivia Voldroyan, and Walking Ballista, as well as many others. I love that. That's one of the things I love about Magic the Gathering. There's so many different cards, but somehow I can say these names, and I know there are people out there that already know exactly what I'm talking about. They have pictures in their mind. They can see the cards and the amount of like tokens that they need each one of them somehow with a vast lore. I think that's one of the things that I always get like excited about when I think about like Magic the Gathering, any big card game like this. It's been going for so long. The lore just never seems to stop. No, people never stop fighting. There's never enough war or battle. There's always more things to fight over. So yeah, let's open it up to the multiverse and we'll just have a bunch more fun killing each other. It'd be great. So retailers are going to receive new pre-release promos. If you didn't know, it's the celebration of the 30 years of Magic happening now. So the promos are going to be foil versions of Eternal Witness, Chord of Calling, and Niv Mizzet, the Fire Mine. WotC's also changed up the pre-release packs to include additional foil stamped legendary promo cards for Commander play with special card treatment. There's so much stuff to look forward to. Let me give you just a quick rundown of all of the different things. There's going to be a lot, but I'm going to try to get through it as quickly as I can. So the March of the Machine story starts on March 16th and continues all the way to the 29th, where we will finally get the set debut with a cinematic trailer and previews. And then right after that, from March 29th all the way to the April 4th, we're going to get the card preview so you can start taking a look at all the cards. Then we're going to get complete card image galleries. You get a closer look at them on April 5th, as well as in-store pre-release events happening from April 14th to the 20th. Then we've got Magic Arena and Magic Online digital releases on the 18th. So you got some extra stuff coming in that week, as well as on that weekend. the global tabletop release and the launch party events happening all throughout the weekend so people can celebrate the new set releasing. So you're not going to have to wait too much longer. It's coming in March, mid-March, all the way through late April. It's a really huge event going on. So plenty of stuff to look forward to in the multiverse here.
Yeah, it's an excellent set. Like there's a lot of wackiness going on with it, essentially. You got team ups of legends that have no business hanging out with each other
They're
on a regular
stupid
basis.
powerful.
They're stupid powerful. Yeah. And you got the Magic's equivalent of the Borg Queen running around with her, Phyrexians trying to assimilate everything that walks. So, it's gonna be a fun set, like definitely. And the reprints are just insane. I mean, they're reprinting Ragavan again, which is the one of the big legends that came out of Modern Horizons 2. So good set.
I just love seeing. I'm always happy when the Phyrexians come back. I remember clear back in the day, good old Phyrexians.
Yeah, they are wreaking havoc. It's fantastic.
Well, they got a new Phyrexia, and they're gonna work new Phyrexia. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and folks in chat, if you want to take a look at some of the cards on the ICV2 article, check out the link below. The gallery has a ton of cards you can already look at now with lots and lots of card art as well.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move on and talk a little bit about Stonemaier Games, another great game company. Stonemaier recently shared their tabletop game sales in print versus digital sales. This article is brought to us by from ICV2. So I find this article very interesting, as it's really not easy to get solid data on tabletop game sales. It takes a bit of investigative work and some analysis and some assumptions, even to get an estimate of sales of some game. I mean, unless you're in the game company, of course, game companies know how much they sell themselves, but figuring out what the size of the industry is and which games are doing best for how long in sort of a concrete way is a tricky thing, something I used to obsess about actually back in the 90s. So this article immediately jumped out at me. All right, Stonemaier Games shared some totals for the number of tabletop games in print versus their digital sales totals for their board game lines in a recent article. The goal of the article was to compare digital sales numbers with tabletop sales numbers in order to show how the two stack up against one another. Stonemaier also shared that the company's goals in enabling the production of digital games were not entirely about revenue. They used digital games for demoing, for teaching the rules, to help players connect with other players, and so on. The data release showed the total units sold to date for Stonemaier's primary full AI digital games, of which there are 4, compared to the total units in print for the tabletop versions of these games. This data does not factor in Board Game Arena data. It's just direct sales. The data set broke down as follows. Okay, so I'm going to rank these in order of the games that had the least amount of digital games relative to the tabletop games. So that starts with Viticulture. So Viticulture sold 23,000 digital copies of the game, and tabletop sales are 235,000. So that's about 10% of the digital games were about 10% of the tabletop games. Charterstone has sold 38,000 digital versions of the game and 97,000 versions of the tabletop game. So that's higher percentage. Their digital games, 39% of what the tabletop games did. Wingspan, which is a huge phenomenal hit, has sold 674,000 digital games. But that's only 42% of 1.68 million tabletop games that are in print. So by the way, that's a really big number. That's really cool.
That's a crazy number.
That's a crazy number. Congratulations, Jamie. That's good. Good going. Scythe has sold 535,000 digital games compared to 544,000 tabletop versions of Scythe. That's 98%. So in that case, it's basically 1 for 1. But
Huge.
that is that is really interesting. And by the way, I gotta say, I like all these games. I love Charterstone, by the way. It is my favorite of this four. Love Scythe, etc. Anyway, so great company. Jamie, thank you for releasing this data. I know, Jeffrey, weren't you saying that like everybody got really excited about this article?
Oh yeah, no, this was a huge thing because like you can Peter, you understand what it takes to extract this type of data out of a board game company or any game company, period. Like, unless they're publicly traded. Publicly traded companies tend to, break stuff down. And this was just cool. Like, I'm glad the data's out there. We know how much Wingspan's. I mean, that's really my upshot on it, is that like 1.6 million plus copies of Wingspan in print. Oh my God, is that a lot of games? Like,
Yeah.
And that's like since 2019.
Yeah.
That's not, like that's what, 4 years? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's really, I remember we used to do at WotC, when we were trying to figure out what other games were selling and stuff. You talk to distributors, you get a sense of it, and maybe some distributors would sell, slip you some sales numbers, but it was what about other distributors? I mean, you're just getting what, if one distributor shared some numbers with you, it doesn't tell you what all the other distributors are doing. And then there's direct to retail and there's international sales and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's hard to get to this data. And so
yeah, Jamie on last week was asking me about like how to report on the news and how do you source some of the information. What you're saying is what goes on every day at ICP2. What distributor am I calling today? Who's going to give me some, tidbit of information? This data is not easy to come by. Like,
right.
And,
I agree.
Yeah. So
my time working at Mox Boarding House, the board game store here in Seattle, I remember how crazy the hype was for Wingspan and still is, how in demand it was, how people were calling for reprint. We just want to buy a copy of it. But I think I'm just so shocked about how many digital copies of Scythe have been sold. I mean, almost as much as physical ones. Like, I think about that. Well, the physical game is huge, and it's also kind of expensive for your average, like, first time gamer to pick up. So having a digital version that you can just play online with people, you don't have to get a big group together and teach them all how to do it. It kind of makes sense. And I guess I'm happy. I'm just happy to see that digital board games are picking up a little bit.
I mean, once I'll tell you, like the reason this shocks me a lot, like the number of print copies of Wingspan that are out, is because I used to be pretty close with Mayfair Games and when they were in business and stuff, and they had told me how much Catan was shipping, and oh my God, like this Wingspan is, wow, it makes that number look small. So that's an effort. So yep.
Well, while we're on the topic of sales, Asmodee, Noir, you've got some insight here.
I do. So on the other side of things here, Asmodee sales are down in quarter four. Again, shout out to ICV2. Embracer Group has reported that sales of 398 million in its fiscal quarter three, which is October through December 2022, by Tabletop game distribution and publishing subsidiary Asmodee, were down 5% against the same quarter in 2021. Key Asmodee new releases in this quarter include Star Wars Clone Wars, Splendor Duel, Challengers, Twilight Inscription, 3,000 Scoundrels, and Heat Pedal to the Metal. So, I mean, it's wild to kind of see how things are flip-flopping all around the industry. Last week we were just talking about how Magic has become $1 billion franchise, and we just covered how massive Wingspan has become. However, for Asmodee, they're down 5%. So just kind of shows you that not everything is consistent everywhere within the hobby.
So So Jeffrey, do you have some insight here? I mean, like, I think when big companies report sales, it's usually not a consistent across the board thing. There might be one piece of the business that is materially big that was down enough to drag the whole company down.
So this one is a little bit of a strange thing going on. Okay, like so 5% sounds bad, right? But 2022 was a train wreck. So like to only be down 4 or 5%, that's not that bad. Like it could be way worse.
Okay,
Like
that's
that actually ironically shows strength in the board game industry. So and then the other part of this is like you also have to understand that Asmodee does distribute Pokemon in the UK, and Pokemon's on fire. So like that's mixed in there somewhere. When they say strategic trading cards, that's generally what we believe they're talking about, is Pokemon. So, but I don't think it's that bad. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think 5%, you're lucky to only be down 5%. I think some of the other companies got hit way worse than them. So, but board games are showing a little strength. That's cool. I'm down with that. So
well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
that's a good insight. I had forgotten that a lot of the game companies are down this year, sort of the pandemic bubble, if you will.
Yeah, you got to think about it in terms of 2021 and 2020. Everybody was running around buying every board game they possibly could because they were stuck in their houses.
Yeah.
And that's what you had to do. So play board games with who you are and get it delivered via Amazon or whatever. So you got to understand these companies were making crazy amounts of money. To only be off 5% of when you were booming, not too bad. Like
Right.
not too bad at all. So
Yeah. Good. Good color on that. All right, Noir, we're back to you with some Walking Dead news.
That's right. Talking about everybody getting their piece of the pie in this TTRPG space or this tabletop space, the Walking Dead universe RPG is now coming to Kickstarter. Free League Publishing announces the upcoming launch of the Walking Dead universe RPG Kickstarter. The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, Tales of the Walking Dead, and The Walking Dead Worlds Beyond. Is it enough? If that was enough, The Walking Dead for Free League has announced that the Walking Dead Universe RPG is coming to Kickstarter March 14th, 2023. This project was previously announced in November 2022 and will be heading to retail after the Kickstarter in fall 2023. Free League has also released new images for the game, which include interior spreads from the core rulebook. I think this is just a no-brainer. Free League has been doing a wonderful job of taking film and TV adaptations and bringing them to the table. They've done an outstanding job with Blade Runner. They did a wonderful job with Aliens. I have no doubt that they're going to be able to successfully transition bringing The Walking Dead to the table. There's a lot of content within that franchise for them to play with, so I'm very curious to see what kind of systems they put in place, what kind of classes there might even be. Um, yeah, I'm not the biggest Walking Dead fan, but I am a huge Free League fan, so I think I'm gonna on that tilt, I'm gonna try it out.
What was there any word about whether you're playing? Are you playing like Rick and or Sean, or are you playing new characters? Any idea?
I'm imagining that you'll be creating your own characters very much in the same way as in the Aliens game. You're not playing Ripley. You're playing whatever character that you create. I have no doubt that they'll have archetypes or classes that emulate a lot of the popular characters from The Walking Dead. So I mean, I can see there easily being like a cop, a medic, or just like a leader of men, like a Negan type character. Um, I'm very excited to see what they do with this, just because just like with that question, it's just like they can do anything. So what will they choose to do? That's going to be the exciting part of opening up this cool rule book and checking it out.
So when I heard about this, so one of the things it's being produced closely with Scott M. Gimple, who's basically the chief content officer for the Walking Dead universe. And I have no doubts about this game being a hit because they knocked Alien out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was easily one of the best RPGs I've seen in years. And they just killed it. Like, I have no questions about Free League at this point. They're one of my gold standards for RPG companies, for at least where IP stuff is concerned. They also did Vaesen too, which I liked a lot. That was a Nordic horror role playing game. It had a very interesting, setting and stuff like that. I just thought it was, something a little unique. They of course did Morkborg, so yeah, I have no doubts about Free League. They're phenomenal. So
Yeah, I mean, and I highly recommend checking out the article just to get a look at some of the art from this book.
oh yeah, it's great.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I was wondering if they were gonna go in the style of the comic book. It looks like they didn't. It's more of a watercolor design, more realistic. So it's like somebody took scenes from the TV show and painted them in watercolor, and it's just absolutely gorgeous.
That can work well, especially for horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no doubts about this game at all. So zero doubts. So it's
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of no doubts, there's no doubt that Javion likes John D. Clare, and we got some new news about what he's up to. Is that right, Javion?
I want to be clear. I did meet John D. Clare, and yes, I think he's an awesome person. I think what I really love are his board games. I don't really know him personally, okay? I just want to be clear about that, but thank you, Peter.
Sure. Fair. Fair.
So,
yeah. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've been watching Netflix for the last couple years and you come across a very excellent series called The Last Kingdom, well, I hope you like board games too, because you're getting both in one. That's right. The fate of England is in the balance this time. We've got yet another Netflix original becoming a board game. So with The Last Kingdom, if maybe you haven't seen it before, it is a series about different leaders who are in power in this sort of medieval fantasy world. It's very Game of Thrones-esque, and they're all trying to vie for power over the two warring factions of the Saxons and the Dane armies. And they're constantly battling for dominance, but there's the one main character who you get to follow along as they make decision after decision after decision, season after season. We just get to watch all of these different characters coming to life. And they have finished their final season, season 5, actually. And what better way to celebrate than with a board game? So John D. Clare has taken this on. If you've ever heard of any other games that he's made, like one of my personal favorites, Space Base, or even Ecos or Cubitos or Ready Set Bet, or any of the other games that are coming out, he's busy. So I'm very excited to see what the Last Kingdom board game has in store. So apparently in this one, you're controlling one of those influential leaders, and you're trying to control Britain by getting victory points over a course of 2 rounds, which might sound short, but really what you're doing is you've got rounds within rounds, right? Like any game that says there are only 1 or 2 or 3 rounds, there's going to be more complexity to it. It's about 90-minute kind of game. You can play with up to 5 people, and every different country has its own war that you have to go through, and you're drafting cards and using a rotating list of actions on the board, managing your resources and controlling different armies and areas and battling it out. So there's tons and tons of intrigue. You're trying to gain influence with different factions as you play along. Maybe you'll even team up with other players and try to work together to get the same rewards, but then eventually, there can only be one winner. So, if you're a fan of the series, if you want to play with those some of those characters or see what kind of game can be created from this rich world, definitely check out the board game as well. Like I said, it plays at about 2 to 4 players, and it's actually being produced. Sorry, my bad. It actually plays in about 30 minutes. I was completely wrong there. I don't know where I got 90 from. Excuse me. It's about a 30-minute game. So,
well, what it means a 30-minute game, which means the first time you play it, it'll be about 90 minutes.
Oh yeah,
right.
There you go.
Learning curve.
Exactly. I mean, it's got a lot of components to it. You got 90 cards, 10 large size and 3 large figures. There's a ton of army figurines and player screens and punchboard tokens. So there's a lot of content in it as well. But it's also being developed by Gameland Games, who you might have heard of, made all of the tiny epic games like Galaxies or Kingdoms or Vikings, as well as one of my favorites, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, which is a large scale, way longer than 90 minutes board game that you would expect from like a 4X game with tons of components. So they can definitely handle something like this. But man, I love Gameland. I love John D. Clare, and they're working together on a medieval fantasy game, which sounds so cool to me. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the game in its full release. Did you guys know that there's actually a movie coming out for The Last Kingdom as well? So
Yep.
they've got, and did you know it's also based on a book series as well? So there's
Yeah.
so
Yep.
much Last Kingdom content. They're trying
It's
to
a
corner
really
every
good-
area.
It's a really good show too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah, that's right.
all they need now is like a comic book series, an animated TV series, a web series, and they're just gonna have every aspect of the market.
Well, the vast majority about the vast majority of the story of the Last Kingdom is about the conflict between Wessex, Sussex, and the Danish empires or the Danish kingdoms. And it's a historical drama with Lord Alfred or what? King Alfred, yes. King Alfred the Great. I should know these things. Yeah, no, it was a great series. You should, if you haven't watched it, just go binge it.
Yeah, I'm going back to it. I watched first season, and I don't know why I didn't ever go back to it. But now that I know it's over, I'm gonna go back and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's almost
sure.
50 episodes. They're all the final season's over. You can binge it all at once.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's
Yeah.
one of the best historical dramas in years. So it's fantastic. So
All right. Well, another thing about history here, talking about games set in historical eras. Renegade Game Studios has revealed the return of Axis and Allies World War I 1914, a classic World War I strategy game to retail in August 2023. The release of Axis and Allies 1914 is part of the expansion of Renegade's partnership with Hasbro to publish new editions of specific strategy game lines, like the World War II version of Axis and Allies, Diplomacy, and so on. Axis and Allies 1914 was originally published in 2013 and was Avalon Hill's Axis and Allies take on the war to end all wars. Yeah. The updated version will be a Renegade limited edition that includes more German and British Empire infantry units, 30 extra chips, and rulebook updates. It will feature over 400 plastic miniatures, as well as an extra large 34-inch by 32-inch game board. And the game will retail for $100. So I gotta admit, I have not played the World War I version of Axis and Allies. I've played the World War II version, which is an excellent game. But I have a question. Has anybody on this panel played it?
yeah,
Anybody? Yeah, you've played it. So
I have not.
So most World War I games traditionally are kind of boring because like trench warfare isn't exactly exciting
Right.
or inspiring. So I'm curious how they handle it. Is it a boring game, or do they just like, screw that, we're gonna change
I mean,
it,
it's like I can't speak to the Renegade version of it. So,
Yeah.
but it's a decent enough game. I mean, it's you do have sort of a little bit of the trench warfare thing going on. It's a little more risky than like risk-esque than Axis and Allies. So, but I have to say though, Renegade, by picking up, Axis and Allies Diplomacy, and there was Robo Rally. They got that one.
Right.
I think this is like one of the best things this company has done in a long time. Like, I'm a big fan of Renegade to begin with, but like, I think all these games should have been in print forever and never stopped being in print.
Well,
Which,
especially Diplomacy. I mean,
right?
Yeah,
What were
right,
they
right.
doing?
Yeah.
We've been asking this for years about Hasbro, right? It's like, so there's Avalon Hill out there that was just kind of sitting in the wings with Wizards of the Coast, and Wizards was busy making Magic. I mean, I don't fault them for any of that. But Avalon, was just kind of being ignored, and so Renegade jumped in there like, yeah, I'll be the publisher of all these great games. Like Roll Rally especially is the one I'm sitting there like, man, that game should have been
Well,
in.
especially since it's the game that brought Richard and I together. I mean,
Well, yeah, right. Well, there's that
historically.
too, but it's also a great game, right?
Yeah.
Like, why is this not in mass market? Okay, like, what's going on? So, and Axis and Allies, especially, that's another one that's like that. It's like, every kid that's like into history should be playing Axis and Allies. They should play it at least once, just to understand some of the strategies involved with it and how it impacted the world and how it kind of reflects what happened in the war a little bit. And like it's a major brand that was just kind of lost in time for a long time. I'm glad they're all back. Diplomacy, Axis and Allies, Robo Rally. Thank you, Renegade. Thank you so much. Somebody needed to do it. So
yes, amen. All right. Well, we are on to the next segment of our show, which has to do with bundles. But to talk about bundles, we need a bundle boss. And Jamion Smith has stepped up to the boss plate. Bundle boss plate.
Yes. Come one, come all to the bundle circus. We've got worlds of D20s and worlds of RPGs galore. That's right. From Bundle of Holding, we get Modifius tabletop role-playing ebooks that all use the 2D20 system. You've heard of D20, but what's better than 1D20? 2, in fact. With the Worlds of 2D20 bundle, you get not only a bunch of RPGs, but also you get to help out a fun cause. So what comes with the Worlds of 2D20 bundle? You get the Dune RPG, as well as many others, such as Dishonored, Fallout, Achtung, Cthulhu, Infinity, John Carter of Mars, and much, much more. The value cannot be measured except for in dollars. It's about $67 for the starter collection that you get for just $14.95. Look at all the savings. They're insane.
That's phenomenal.
You can also level up and pay the price of $40 to get the entire 2D20 bonus collection with 8. That's right, 8 more titles worth an additional $138. That's over $250 worth of content for the price of a board game that you might, or just for the price of one RPG, in fact. You get Star Trek Adventures. You get Infinity Adventures in the Human Sphere. It's an excellent chance to try out some RPGs that maybe you haven't played before, or like me, didn't even know existed. You can try out your favorite video game adaptation of a tabletop role-playing game, or you can just jump back into a world you had explored once in your past as a child, reading the books of John Carter of Mars or the Dune series, perhaps. Not only do you get these wonderful RPGs and the content and worlds they have in store, but you also get the 30% discount code that allows you to purchase with a discount up to 6 qualifying print rulebooks. That's right, print rulebooks from the Modifius UK web store or its United States web store as well. They're good through March 30th this year, and your unique discount code and full details will appear near the top of your cabinet download when you check out Bundle of Holdings site. Now, of course, we love helping people join in new games and explore new worlds with RPGs, but we also love helping charities or rather nonprofit organizations that could use donations. And in this way, you get to do both. 10% of each payment for this bundle is donated to the nonprofit initiative co-founded by Modifius Entertainment owner Chris Birch called Roll versus Evil. They let gaming communities do what they love, play games while supporting frontline charitable efforts working directly toward verifiable immediate results. Check out the Bundle of Holding today. You've got 3 days, 5 hours, 14 minutes, and as of me saying this, 38 seconds to check it out before it's gone forever. And we'll have another one for you next week as well.
All right, Javion, thank you very much. And if you're seeing this lovely hairdo that I got going on now, you know it is time for the crowdfunder court. Boom, 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 gavel, gavel, gavel. Who do we have that is brave enough to approach the bench with a crowdfunding? Oh, Jeffrey Dom Sanchez. Well, the court is here to hear your case.
Well, I would submit for the court's approval this small coin company called Goliath Coins. They are currently doing a Kickstarter with Chaosium. They've licensed the Chaosium Call of Cthulhu brand, and they make these coins that can be used as first player markers and actual tabletop props and stuff like that. And I have a couple of them. These are not the Chaosium ones, but these are, sort of a sample of their work. Here's a multi-headed dragon on the back. Is struck a treasure lair that they've done. And they do great work. And these are some weighty coins. And for this particular Kickstarter project, it's got a few days left. And these coins are going to be official Call of Cthulhu accessories, which means they'll come with their own mythos that fits into the lore. So, not only are they, a neat thing that you can use in game or display on your desk, they are also actually have a story that fits into Call of Cthulhu. So, pretty cool.
Cool.
Like it a lot.
All right, that is an excellent case to bring before the court. You have not wasted the court's time. Thank you, Mr. Dom Sanchez. Mr. Smith, you have something for the court.
Why, indeed, I do. Now, for the court, I present to you today is a special day indeed. For this episode of Crowdfunder Court marks the final episode of The Zine Zone.
Still funny.
I love it. Stuff like that.
Still funny.
Yeah.
That's right. This is the final episode of TableTakes for February, which also marks the final episode of the Zine Zone, where we are presenting as many zines as we can from the zine quest that's going on Kickstarter. And I have a very special one I've been excited to tell you all about. It's called Viva la Queer Bar. Viva la Queer Bar is almost exactly what it sounds like. You get together with your friends and a deck of 52 normal playing cards, and you get to tell yourselves a story about a queer bar and all of the people that get to run it and where it's going to go. You can play in a fantasy medieval tavern, a cyberpunk underground club, or a real-world gay bar in a historical setting, or anything else you can think of. It lives wherever you want it to. All you need is a regular deck of playing cards, and you can even play it solo or with up to 5 people as well. There's no preparation necessary. You just start playing and reading all of the details that they have in this tiny little zine. It's a very interesting and dear to my heart, being a person of the spectrum of LGBTQ plus. Myself, I've been to many a queer bar, and I haven't always felt secure or felt like I fit in, even at those kinds of spaces where people like me would join together. Well, I've always wanted to see what it's like to make a place like that, to run a place like that. I mean, you all know how much of a control freak I am. So I would love a chance like this to just sit down with my players on my D&D table when we're missing a couple players or something like that. And we just end up answering questions. That's really all the gameplay amounts to, is just you flip a card and you answer a question. And somebody else flips a card and they answer a question. You talk about what kind of space you would create together. And they also encourage people who may not identify as queer themselves to take on that perspective of someone who is, if you'd like to experience what you think you would be exciting about this zine. So I've already backed it myself, so there's plenty of room to grow as well. They've already finished hitting their goal, but there's 21 days left to go. I'm sure it's going to be a big hit. So definitely check out Viva La Queer Bar if you find it piques your appetite.
Well, thank you, JB. And the fact that you have backed this yourself, putting your own money behind it, speaks to the quality of your recommendation. Thank you. You have not wasted the court's time.
Happy to help.
Excellent. I'm going to cover a quick starter myself, even though I'm the judge. It's okay to be a supplicant.
Objection! Objection!
Nope, objection overruled.
Oh God!
We
Again.
never claimed this court wasn't rigged. Okay, yes, I'm going to cover a Kickstarter from Paul Zedge. Paul is a former Diana Jones Award winner for his amazing role-playing game from back in the aughts called My Life with Master. He also designed The Clay That Woke. And anyway, he's a very insightful guy. He has raised $6,249 with this Kickstarter versus a goal of $1,600. Okay, a modest proposal, but it has 11 days to go. And I think you'll find this interesting. So I'm going to quote from the designer's posting on the Kickstarter. He writes, "I have been playing so many journaling games the past 2 years. Some of you may have heard of, like 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, and other great ones like you may not have heard of, like The Wandering Lake and The Magus and The Last Tea Shop. Some I played for months, like Hopelessly Devoted. Some for a few hours, like A Lonely Road, and some for just 20 minutes, like Foam and Fiction. Sometimes they're super immersive. I get lost in them. I have a hard time taking a break. Sometimes they're so bleedy, I can't stop thinking about them, about their characters outside the game, surfacing my emotions from them when I'm at the supermarket or driving or trying to read something, totally effed up by them. And sometimes they're utterly forgettable. The Ink That Bleeds, which is the name of this Kickstarter, The Ink That Bleeds is me writing all about this, how immersion works, about bleed in of our stuff from our lives into our journal game experiences, and bleed out of emotions and concerns from games into our outer lives, about why journaling games are having their cultural moment, about self-care, playing your approximate self, words as relationships, why writing dialogue is so affecting, and more. So you can do it too." It goes on, but I'm stopped there. I thought the intro to this was very powerful, very moving, obviously very heartfelt, and I recommend checking it out. All right. I have not wasted the court's time. I so declare.
Well, it comes from the judge, so it must be true.
It's true.
Yeah.
This is the power of being the crowdfunding court judge. All right, Noir, let's see if you will keep your head today.
All right, let's get into it. It's time to light up the competition. I'm so sorry in advance. I've got a gaming table called the Origins Lit. 2 new gaming tables starting at $9.99. GTT is back to upgrade your game nights with 2 new solid wood game tables starting at just $999, which include an LED version. Have you ever been playing at your table and things just aren't lit properly? Well, we can get rid of that problem with these brand new tables. They've come with free shipping to the lower 48 states, so you can start playing. You can start playing on your new game table in 2023. 0 interest payment options are available, and modular and large size formats are also available. This is just a very cool looking table. It's got a remote control for your LED lights, so you can change the color to fit whatever theme that you've got going on. It's got a customizable playing surface with non-slip areas. 4-inch recessed playing areas for all your players around the table. So if you're playing a game of Magic, you have places to put your cards. If you've got dice lingering around, there's a nice spot so they're not dropping all over the table, and then you step on a D4 and then you just hate everybody for the rest of the day. These are neoprene tray mats that are included, as well as countersunk cup holders and solid wood construction. This is a nice table, and it comes in various sizes. So if you want a full dining room set, you can have that, or if you just want a counter table for your couch area, they've got that covered too. I've personally back this one. I love the fact that they have a smaller table. I was just telling my friends here how I have a teeny tiny apartment, and this is perfect for it. It looks stylish. It comes with the matching chairs, which you don't normally get with a lot of these gaming table companies. And the colors for this are just so vibrant, and not just the LEDs, but the gaming table itself. So highly recommend taking a look at this if you're in the market for a gaming table. I, I I don't think anything else needs to be said. Just take a look at this thing. It's glorious.
Once again, an excellent crowdfunding proposal from Noir, and then another crowdfunding court where no one lost their head. Well done, well done. The threat of death, I think, really motivates everyone to do a good job on these. Appreciate it. Hey, it's time for our outro, but before we do an outro real quick, I just want to mention this is like 1 year anniversary-ish from when the Gen Con TV hiatus a little over a year ago.
Oh, that's right.
We've been working together for
Wow.
1 year now. Javion, Marcus, Noir, and myself, and Bonsai. Yeah, anyway, it's
Shout out to Bonsai and Baby Bonsai as well. We miss you.
so anyway, I it's been a great year, and I hope for many more.
Heck yeah.
All right, so here on Gen Con TV, so stick around at 3:30, just shortly after this show, we have TableTakes game night with poetry for Neanderthals. Javian, aren't you running that game?
I sure am. I
Well,
hope
what's
you
the-
like talking like a caveman.
Yeah, what's the one sentence pitch on this game?
Oh, I'll do you one better. I'll give you a one sentence pitch using only one syllable words. This game is real fun.
Okay, great, perfect. Okay, so 5 o'clock, right after that, join us for Sarah's Table. Sarah Moore will be running a game of Chew Part 2. This game does come with an adult content warning, FYI. This Saturday, that's tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., Studio Night with Tanel Lovett returns. A live drawn art stream with Tanel Lovett. She's the illustrator for Actor Roki, and she's our Gen Con TV art director, and she is a delight. Then on Monday, we have at 4 p.m. board games with the Brothers Murph, one of the original Gen Con TV shows, still going strong. 6 p.m. we have Dress the Quest, where they go all out on the cosplay, playing role-playing, playing D&D. And then Wednesday, 6 p.m. is going to be Actor Roki. New Digs, this is going to be the episode 403 script read. On Thursday, 10 a.m., the ultimate social deduction game, Blood on the Clock Tower. Then at 4 p.m., Roll with Rem Alternus. Yes, where they will probably play a really cool, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, we play Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. That's right.
Yeah, I'm on that. I play a Decker. It's been real fun.
Oh, good. And then come back, of course, next Friday for TableTakes game night, and Sarah's Table. Thank you for watching us. Thank you, Javion Noir and Jeffrey Dom Sanchez from ICV2 for joining us here today. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye, everybody.